The ultrasound photo curled at the edges, blackening in the hotel sink. Ayanda Dlamini watched the tiny bean-shaped image, 12 weeks of secret hope, turn to ash. Her hands were steady. Her heart was not. 3 hours ago, she'd been planning how to tell him. Then she'd opened that magazine. Page 43, Society Weddings. Her Jay, the man who showed up at her door with street food and terrible jokes, smiling beside a woman who looked like royalty. Seo Jae-won, the caption read, heir to Seoul's most powerful family, engaged for over a year to childhood sweetheart Han Soo-yeon. A year. She'd known him for 3 months. The lighter clattered into the sink. Ayanda grabbed her suitcase and started packing. She'd be on a plane to Johannesburg by morning. Contract breach and consequences be damned. Some prices were worth paying. The knock came at 2 a.m. Soft, 3 taps. Pause, 3 more. His knock. She froze, one hand on the zipper. Then came his voice, low and wrecked through the door. Ayanda, I know you're in there, and I know about the baby. The ultrasound photo curled at the edges first. Ayanda Dlamini watched the black and white image. The tiny bean shape that was supposed to mean everything. Turn brown, then black, then nothing. Smoke rose from the hotel sink in her Seoul bathroom. She didn't cry. She'd run out of tears somewhere between the coffee shop and here. 12 weeks. That's how long she'd been carrying this secret. 3 months of morning sickness hidden behind project deadlines, of fatigue blamed on jet lag, of a future she'd started to imagine in quiet moments when she let herself be foolish. The magazine was still open on her bed. Page 43. Society Weddings. And there he was. Seo Jae-won, heir to the Seo family empire, smiling next to a woman who looked like she belonged in a painting. Han Soo-yeon, the caption read. Childhood sweethearts are finally setting a date after a year-long engagement. A year. Ayanda had known him for 3 months. Apparently, he'd been engaged for 12. Her phone buzzed. Another message from him. Where are you? We need to talk. She turned off her phone. Then she opened her laptop and booked a flight to Johannesburg. Tomorrow morning. 6 a.m. She'd miss her project deadline, probably get fired, and definitely lose her work visa. None of that mattered anymore. She threw the lighter in the trash and started packing. The knock came at 2 in the morning. Ayanda froze, one hand on her suitcase zipper. It was gentle. 3 soft taps, then silence, then 3 more. That was his knock, the one he used when he came to her apartment late at night, still wearing his work clothes, looking tired in a way that made her want to fix everything. She didn't move. Ayanda. His voice came through the door, low and careful. I know you're in there. Your light's on. She still didn't answer. I saw the magazine. I know. Please, just let me explain. Explain what, exactly? How he forgot to mention a fiancé? How their rule of no last names, no personal history, was actually just a convenient way for him to lie without technically lying? Go away, Jae-won. Silence. Then, I can't. Watch me make you. Your visa's connected to the Hanul Museum project, the project funded by SEO Holdings, my family's company. Ayanda's hand stilled on the suitcase. If you leave before the contract's complete, there are legal implications, breach of contract, possible deportation flags that could affect future travel. She crossed to the door, but didn't open it. Are you threatening me right now? No. God, no. I'm telling you because I don't want you blindsided when you get to the airport tomorrow. A pause. I'm trying to help. You want to help? Go back in time and tell me the truth. She heard him lean against the door, the small thud of his forehead against the wood, maybe. Or his fist. She'd seen him do that before when he was frustrated. Press his knuckles to his temples, like he could physically push a solution into his brain. I will fix this, he said finally. This isn't a problem you can fix. This is a life, my life, and you don't get to be in it anymore. She turned off the light, stood in the darkness, and listened to him breathe on the other side of the door for what felt like hours. Eventually, she heard footsteps. The elevator. Ding. Silence. Ayanda didn't sleep. She sat on the edge of the bed and calculated. The contract had 4 months left. 4 months in Seoul. 4 months of growing more pregnant in a city where the father of her child was apparently royalty of some kind. At 5 a.m., she made coffee and opened her laptop. Searched Seo Jae-won. Big mistake. The man she knew as Jae, the one who bought her street food and laughed at her terrible Korean pronunciation and fell asleep on her couch with his face soft and unguarded, was apparently one of the most powerful men in Seoul. The articles called him a businessman. The comment section called him other things. Dangerous, connected, untouchable. There were photos of him at galas, groundbreakings, charity dinners, always in dark suits, always with that same controlled expression. And in half of them, there she was. Han Soo-yeon. Perfect posture, perfect smile. Hand tucked into his elbow, like it was made to rest there. Ayanda slammed the laptop shut. At 7 a.m., there was a knock. Different this time. Brisk. Professional. She opened the door to a woman in her 50s. Sharp eyes and a sharper suit. Ms. Dlamini, I'm Park Min-ji, legal counsel for SEO Holdings. May I come in? Before you think Ayanda's going to just roll over and let this story happen to her, stick around. This is where it gets interesting. And if you're loving the chaos already, hit that like button. Trust me, you'll want to see where this goes. Ayanda didn't move from the doorway. No. Park Min-ji smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. I understand you're upset, but we need to discuss your contract. At 7 a.m.? Mr. Seo was concerned you might make a decision you'd regret. Mr. Seo can mind his business. You are his business, Ms. Dlamini. Your work visa was expedited through SEO Holdings. Your housing allowance comes from our subsidiary. The museum project you're designing? We own the land, the permits, the funding. Park Min-ji tilted her head. In Seoul, you are our business. Ayanda felt her jaw tighten. So what? I'm trapped here? You're contracted here. There's a difference. There it is. That phrase. The one that means you're about to get legally cornered with a smile. If you leave before the project's complete, you'll be in breach. That means returning your signing bonus, covering the cost of visa processing, and potential legal fees. Park Min-ji pulled out a tablet, scrolled, turned it to face Ayanda. Roughly 80 million won. I can send you the breakdown. Ayanda's stomach dropped. That was almost 60,000 US dollars. Money she didn't have. This is insane. This is contract law. Park Min-ji tucked the tablet away. However, if you fulfill your obligation, you'll receive your completion bonus as planned, plus a glowing reference that will open doors anywhere in the world. She paused. Mr. Seo wants to make this as easy as possible for you. Then he can let me go. He's trying to protect you. From what? Park Min-ji's expression shifted. Something almost like pity. From making a choice in anger that costs you your career. Ayanda wanted to throw something, preferably at Jae-won's head. Fine. 4 months. Then I'm gone. Mr. Seo also wanted me to tell you that he's arranged a new apartment for you. Quieter building, better security. I don't want his apartment. It's already paid for. Your current lease was month to month. It's been terminated. Park Min-ji handed her a key card. The address is on the back. Your things will be moved this afternoon. I suggest you take the day to settle in. She left before Ayanda could argue. The new apartment was in Hanam-dong. Ayanda knew enough about Seoul by now to know that meant money. The kind of neighborhood where celebrities lived, where every building had a name instead of just a number. Her things were already there when she arrived. Boxes stacked neatly in the living room, her clothes in the closet, her sketches on the desk by the window that overlooked the Han River. It was beautiful. She hated it. There was a note on the kitchen counter. His handwriting was the same slanted scrawl she'd seen on the book he gave her once. "I'm sorry. Give me a chance to explain, please." She crumpled it and threw it in the trash. Then she pulled it out, smoothed it flat, and tucked it in her notebook. Just in case. Evidence. Maybe. Or masochism. Her phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Ms. Delamini, this is Dr. Yoon from Seoul Women's Hospital. We have you scheduled for a prenatal appointment tomorrow at 10. Transportation will be arranged. I didn't make an appointment. It was made on your behalf. Given your situation, regular monitoring is important. The appointment is complimentary." Of course it was, because Jae-won was apparently managing her entire life now. "Cancel it." "I wouldn't recommend that, Miss Delamini. You're 12 weeks along. The first trimester screening is critical." Ayanda closed her eyes. She wanted to refuse out of spite, but the baby didn't deserve that. "Fine. 10 a.m. She hung up and immediately called her best friend in Johannesburg. Zind answered on the second ring. "Tell me you're not in jail." "Why would I be in jail?" "Because you haven't answered my messages in 2 days. And the last thing you said was that you found out your man is basically Korean Mafia." Ayanda sank onto the couch. "It's worse." "How is it worse?" "I'm pregnant. He's engaged. And he's trapped me in Seoul with a contract I can't break without going bankrupt." Silence. Then, "I'm booking a flight." "Don't. I need to handle this. You need to come home." "I can't. Not for 4 months." Ayanda rubbed her temples. "And by then I'll be 6 months pregnant and waddling through the Johannesburg airport like a scandal waiting to happen. So what's the plan? Survive. Finish the project. Leave. What about him?" Ayanda looked at the crumpled note she'd rescued from the trash. "There is no him. There never was." But that was a lie, and they both knew it. The museum project meeting was the next morning. Ayanda showed up early, determined to act like her entire life wasn't falling apart. Her team was already there. 6 people. Mix of Korean and international architects, all brilliant, all oblivious to the fact that their lead designer was currently starring in her own terrible drama. "Ayanda, you okay?" That was Marcus, the Australian structural engineer. "You look pale." "Jet lag," she lied. "You've been here 3 months. Persistent jet lag." The client arrived at 9 sharp. 3 representatives from the Museum Foundation, 2 from the City Cultural Office, and Ayanda's heart stopped. Jae-won walked in last. Dark suit, composed expression, every inch the businessman she'd seen in those photos. He didn't look at her. "Mr. Seo, we weren't expecting you," the museum director said, standing quickly. "I wanted to see the progress myself." Jae-won took a seat at the head of the table, right across from Ayanda. "Please, continue." Ayanda wanted to walk out. Instead, she opened her laptop and pulled up her presentation. "The design integrates traditional Hanok elements with modern sustainability," she started. Her voice was steady, professional. "The central courtyard creates natural airflow, reducing cooling costs by an estimated 30%. She clicked through slides, showed renderings, structural plans, and material sourcing. Didn't look at Jae-won once. "The roof design is inspired by traditional Korean curves, but we're using recycled steel instead of tile. Lighter weight, better earthquake resistance, same visual impact." "Beautiful work," one of the foundation reps said. "Ms. Delamini has exceeded every expectation," the museum director added. "This project is going to be a landmark." Ayanda allowed herself one glance at Jae-won. He was looking at her presentation, face unreadable. "I have a question," he said. Of course he did. "The timeline shows completion in 4 months. Is that realistic?" "Yes." "No delays, no contingencies." She met his eyes. "I keep my promises, Mr. Sale." Something flashed across his face. Hurt, maybe. Good. I'd like to add a component, he continued. A dedicated gallery space for cross-cultural exhibitions, African and Korean artists, side by side. The room went quiet. Ayanda blinked. That was her idea. The one she'd told him about at 2 a.m, half asleep, dreaming out loud about the kind of spaces she wanted to create. Bridges between worlds. That would require additional funding, the director said carefully. I'll provide it. Jaewon finally looked directly at Ayanda. If Ms. Dlamini agrees to design it. It was a trap. It had to be. Another way to keep her here, keep her close, keep control. But it was also her dream. I'll need creative freedom, she said. You'll have it. And proper credit. My name on the dedication. Of course. She should say no. Should tell him to take his funding and his guilt and leave her alone. Instead, she said, then yes. The meeting ended an hour later. Ayanda packed her laptop, ready to escape. Ms. Dlamini, a moment? She turned. Jaewon stood by the window, hands in his pockets. Everyone else had left. We're not doing this, she said. I just want to talk. And I just want to finish my work and leave. We don't all get what we want. You're right. We don't. He took a step closer. Not threatening, just tired. But I need you to know that I never meant to hurt you. Congratulations. You failed spectacularly. The engagement was arranged when I was 19. I didn't choose it. But you chose to hide it from me. He flinched. Yes. You chose to let me fall in love with someone who doesn't exist. Jay exists. Everything with you was real. Ayanda laughed. It came out bitter. Real, except for your name, your family, your entire life. I was going to tell you. When? At the wedding? I was ending it. The engagement. I just needed time to handle it properly. To not blow up both families. The business alliances. Everything. And then you saw the magazine, and I ran out of time. Ayanda shook her head. You had 3 months. You had every night you showed up at my door. Every morning you made me coffee. Every time you said you wished we could stop hiding. She picked up her bag. You didn't run out of time. You ran out of courage. She walked to the door. Ayanda. She stopped, but didn't turn around. I know about the baby. Her blood went cold. The hospital reported the appointment to my assistant. Standard protocol for family accounts. Ayanda turned slowly. Your assistant knows? No one knows. I made sure of that. He looked at her, and there was something broken in his expression. But I know, and I need you to understand that I'm not going to abandon you, or our child. Our child doesn't need a father who's already promised to someone else. I'm handling it. Stop handling things. Her voice rose, and she didn't care. Stop managing me like I'm another business problem. I don't want your apartment or your hospital or your guilt money. I want to finish this project and go home. Where's home, Ayanda? The question landed like a punch, because Johannesburg felt far away, and Seoul had started to feel like something, back when she thought Jay was just Jay, back when she let herself imagine a future. Anywhere you're not, she said. She left before he could respond. The prenatal appointment the next day was surreal. Private room, top specialist, every test available. They did blood work, measurements, and another ultrasound. Everything looks perfect, Dr. Yoon said, smiling at the screen. Would you like to hear the heartbeat? Ayanda nodded. The sound filled the room, fast and strong and impossibly real. She started crying. Dr. Yoon handed her tissues. Hormones are very normal at this stage. It wasn't hormones. It was the sudden, overwhelming reality that this was happening. In 4 months, she'd be visibly pregnant. In 6 months, she'd be a mother. And she had no idea how to do this alone. Is there a partner who'd like to attend the next appointment? Dr. Yoon asked gently. No. Family support is important. If not a partner, perhaps a friend or relative. Ayanda thought of her mother, back in Johannesburg. Her father. Zinhle. Everyone who loved her and would support her was thousands of kilometers away. "I'll figure it out," she said. She left the hospital with a folder of information and a new ultrasound photo. This time, she didn't burn it. She tucked it in her bag and tried not to think about the fact that somewhere in Seoul, Jae-won knew she'd been here, probably knew everything the doctor had said. Her phone rang as she walked to the subway. Unknown number again. "Stop calling me from the hospital," she snapped. "Ms. Dlamini," an older woman's voice, accented but clear. "This is Madame Seo, Jae-won's grandmother. I would like to invite you to tea." Ayanda stopped walking. People flowed around her on the sidewalk. "Excuse me." "Tomorrow, 3 p.m., my home in Seongbuk-dong. A car will collect you." "I don't think that's a good idea." "I'm not asking, dear." The line went dead. Ayanda stared at her phone. Then she called Jae-won. He answered immediately. "Did you tell your grandmother?" "No, I told you. No one knows." "Then how does she know?" Silence. Then a sigh. "She always knows. It's terrifying. She invited me to tea. Don't go. She said it wasn't optional. Ayanda, my grandmother is. She's very. Just don't go. Please, I'll handle it." "Stop handling things," she hung up. Then immediately regretted it, because now she had no idea what she was walking into. The car that picked her up the next day was black, expensive, and driven by a man who didn't speak the entire ride. They wound through neighborhoods that got progressively quieter, progressively older. Traditional houses with tile roofs tucked behind modern walls. They stopped in front of a gate. It opened automatically. The house beyond was beautiful. Traditional Hanok architecture, but maintained like a museum. Wooden beams, a curved roof, a courtyard garden that probably required a full-time gardener. An older woman in a hanbok waited at the entrance. "Ms. Dlamini, please, come in." Ayanda followed her inside, removing her shoes, accepting the slippers offered. They walked through hallways that smelled like wood and tea and something floral. Madame Seo sat in a room overlooking the garden. She was 76, according to the articles Ayanda had obsessively read last night. Elegant, sharp-eyed, built an empire with her husband and ran it alone after he died. "Sit," she said, not unkind, but not warm. Ayanda sat. Tea was already poured. Madame Seo studied her over the rim of her cup. "You're younger than I expected." "I'm 29. As I said, young." She set down her cup. "But talented. I've seen your work. The Maboneng Commons in Johannesburg. Mixed use, community-focused. You think long-term." "You researched me." "Of course I did. You're carrying my great-grandchild." Ayanda's teacup rattled against the saucer. "He told you." "He didn't have to. I have sources. And eyes. He's been distracted for months. Then suddenly he's moving you to a secure building and arranging private medical care." She smiled slightly. "I'm old, not oblivious." "What do you want from me?" "To meet you. To see if you're suitable." Ayanda stood. "I'm not auditioning to be part of your family. Sit down." The command in her voice was absolute. Ayanda found herself sitting. "Whether you like it or not, you are connected to this family now. The child you're carrying is a Seo. That comes with complications. I don't want anything from you." "Good. That makes you smarter than most." Madame Seo poured more tea. "But what you want and what you'll need are different things. Seoul is not forgiving to single mothers, especially foreign ones, especially ones connected to families like ours. Then I'll raise my child somewhere else. Running away is easy. Building something is harder." She looked at Ayanda directly. "Which kind of person are you?" Ayanda thought of the museum project, the gallery space Jae-won had offered, the one she'd said yes to even knowing it was complicated. "I finish what I start," she said. "Then finish this. Stay. Let us help you. Why? Because you're good for him. He's been sleepwalking through his life since his father died. Then he met you, and he woke up. Madame Seo's expression softened slightly. I don't care about the engagement. Soo-yeon is lovely, but it's a business arrangement, not a love match. I care about my grandson being happy, and I care about my great-grandchild being raised by people who chose each other, not obligation. He didn't choose me. He chose to lie to me. And that was wrong. But he's young. He made a mistake. She leaned forward. The question is, can you forgive him? Eventually? Ayanda didn't know how to answer that. Madame Seo nodded like she'd heard the answer anyway. Take your time. But while you're deciding, accept help. The apartment, the medical care, security if you need it. Not from guilt. From family. I'm not family. Not yet. But you will be. She stood, indicating the meeting was over. Ayanda left. Feeling more confused than when she'd arrived. That night, Jae-won showed up at her door. She'd been expecting it. What did she say to you? He looked genuinely worried. That I should forgive you. He blinked. Really? Eventually, not today. I'll take it eventually. He hesitated. Can I come in? No. Can we at least talk? Out here? Ayanda leaned against the doorframe. You have 5 minutes. I ended the engagement. Her heart stopped. What? I told Soo-yeon yesterday. She deserves honesty. And I couldn't keep lying. He ran, a hand through his hair, making it stick up. She hated that she found it endearing. It's complicated. There are families involved, business contracts tied to the marriage agreement. We can't just announce it publicly yet without causing chaos. But privately, between us, it's done. Why? Because I love you. Ayanda's breath caught. I've loved you since you yelled at me for being late to our second date. Since you explained the Fibonacci sequence in architecture at 3 in the morning. Since you cried, watching a documentary about buildings. He stepped closer. I love you, and I'm sorry I was too much of a coward to say it when it mattered. Jae-won, I'm not asking you to forgive me right now. I'm just asking you to let me try. Let me prove that I choose you. That I'm choosing you. Ayanda wanted to believe him, wanted it so badly it physically hurt. But wanting wasn't enough. 4 months, she said. I'm here for 4 more months. If you want to prove something, you have that long. And then? Then I decide if I stay or go. He nodded. I'll take it. He left without pushing for more. Ayanda closed the door and slid down to sit against it. This was going to be the longest 4 months of her life. The next 2 weeks were strange. Jae-won didn't push, didn't show up unannounced, didn't flood her with messages. Instead, he did something worse. He was thoughtful. A package arrived at her door. Inside, ginger tea and crackers, the kind that actually helped with morning sickness. No note. She knew it was from him. 3 days later, her favorite bakery order appeared at her office. Still warm, still no note. Then a book, African Architects of the 20th Century. First edition. She'd mentioned wanting to read it once, months ago. He'd remembered. Ayanda wanted to be angry about it, wanted to send everything back. But she drank the tea because she was nauseous, ate the pastries because she was hungry, read the book because she was curious, and hated herself a little bit for it. Work became her refuge. The museum project was expanding with the new gallery addition. More drawings, more meetings, more late nights at her desk. She was reviewing foundation plans when her phone rang. Unknown number. She'd learned to answer those now. Hello, Ms. Dlamini. This is Han Soo-yeon. I was hoping we could meet. Ayanda nearly dropped her phone. I know this is unexpected, Soo-yeon continued. Her voice was calm, educated, the kind that came from expensive schools and etiquette training. But I think we should talk, just the two of us. I don't think that's a good idea. Please, I'm not angry. I just want to understand." There was something in her tone. Not hurt, exactly. Just tired. "One coffee," Ayanda said finally. "Public place. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. There's a cafe near Gyeongbokgung Palace. Quiet but not private." They hung up. Ayanda immediately texted Jae-won. "Your ex-fiancé just called me." His response came in seconds. "Don't go." "Too late. Already agreed." "Ayanda, please. Soo-yeon is complicated." "So am I." She turned off her phone before he could argue. The cafe was tucked down a side street, the kind of place that catered to locals, not tourists. Ayanda arrived early, ordered tea she couldn't drink, and waited. Soo-yeon walked in at exactly 2 p.m. She was beautiful in person. Delicate features, perfect posture, wearing a cream sweater that probably cost more than Ayanda's monthly rent back in Johannesburg. But her eyes were red-rimmed, like she'd been crying recently. "Thank you for coming," Soo-yeon said, sitting down. "I wasn't sure you'd actually show up." "Why wouldn't I?" "Because I'm sleeping with your fiancé." Soo-yeon smiled sadly. "Former fiancé. And from what I understand, you didn't know about me. Does that make it better?" "It makes it not your fault." Soo-yeon ordered coffee from the server, then turned back to Ayanda. "I've known Jae-won since we were children. Our families have been planning this marriage since we were teenagers. I always knew he didn't love me. Not the way you're supposed to love someone you marry." "Then why agree to it?" "Because I loved him. And I thought that would be enough." She stirred her coffee slowly. "I thought if I was patient, if I was perfect, eventually he'd feel the same way." "But you can't make someone love you. I learned that the hard way." Ayanda didn't know what to say to that. "He told me about you 3 weeks ago," Soo-yeon continued. "Didn't mention your name, didn't give details. Just said he'd met someone and couldn't go through with the wedding. I was angry at first. Then I was relieved." "Relieved?" "Because it gave me permission to stop trying." Soo-yeon looked at her directly. "I've spent 10 years of my life waiting for him to look at me the way he looks at you. Now I can stop." Ayanda's throat tightened. "I'm sorry. Don't be. You didn't do this. We did. Our families, our traditions, our inability to just be honest." She took a sip of coffee. "Can I ask you something?" "Okay. Do you love him?" The question hung in the air between them. Ayanda thought about lying, then decided this woman deserved the truth. "Yes, I do. And I hate that I do." Soo-yeon nodded like she understood completely. "He's easy to love when he lets you see the real him. The problem is, he spends most of his life being what everyone else needs him to be." "I noticed. If you stay, that won't change. His family is demanding. The business is complicated. There will always be pressure." Soo-yeon's expression softened. "But if anyone can handle it, I think it might be you." "Why do you say that?" "Because you told him no. You walked away. No one does that to Seo Jae-won." She smiled slightly. "It probably terrified him, which means he'll actually have to work for this." "Good." Despite everything, Ayanda almost laughed. They talked for another hour, about soul, about architecture, about the weird limbo of loving someone complicated. When they left, Soo-yeon hugged her. "Take care of yourself," she said. "And for what it's worth, I think you'll be a wonderful mother." Ayanda watched her walk away and felt something shift. Not forgiveness exactly, but maybe understanding. Her phone had 17 missed calls from Jae-won. She called him back. "Are you okay?" He sounded panicked. "I'm fine." She was nice. Soo-yeon was nice? Surprisingly, yes. Silence. Then, what did she say? "That you're an idiot, but a lovable one." "She said that?" "I'm paraphrasing." She heard him exhale. "I was worried I don't know, say something to hurt you." "She's hurt too, Jae-won. You don't get to be the only one suffering in this story." "I know. You're right." A pause. "Are you free tonight?" "Why?" "Because I'd like to cook you dinner, at my place. No pressure, no expectations. Just food. Ayanda knew she should say no. Knew she was opening a door she'd been trying to keep closed. What are you cooking? Jjigae. Your favorite. Damn him for remembering. 7 o'clock, she said. And if you poison me, I'm haunting you forever. Deal. His apartment was in the same building as hers, 3 floors up. She'd never been inside. When he opened the door, she was surprised by how normal it looked. Books on shelves, dishes in the sink, a blanket thrown over the couch like he'd been napping. You look surprised, he said. I expected something more. I don't know, fancy. My mother's house is fancy. This is where I actually live. He gestured to the kitchen. Dinner's almost ready. Make yourself comfortable. She sat at his counter and watched him cook. He moved efficiently, chopping vegetables, adjusting heat, tasting broth. This was the Jay she remembered. Relaxed, focused, present. You're staring, he said without looking up. You're cooking. It's weird seeing you do normal things. I cook all the time. I know. I just forgot. She accepted the water he handed her. Everything in the last few weeks has been so surreal. Seeing you like this reminds me of before. He plated the food, set it in front of her, then sat down across the counter. I miss before, he said quietly. Me too. They ate in comfortable silence. The jjigae was perfect. Rich, spicy, exactly the way she liked it. How are you feeling? He asked. Physically, I mean. Tired. Nauseous in the mornings. My jeans don't fit anymore. Do you need anything? Clothes, vitamins. I don't know what pregnant women need. I'm figuring it out as I go. Can I come to the next appointment? The doctor's visit? Ayanda looked at him. He was trying so hard. It would be easy to say yes, but easy wasn't what she needed right now. Not yet, she said. Maybe eventually. But not yet, he nodded. Disappointed, but accepting. Can I ask about the project instead? Is the gallery design working? She pulled out her phone and showed him sketches. They spent the next hour talking about architecture, materials, light flow. It felt like old times, like when they'd meet at her apartment and she'd spread drawings across the floor, and he'd ask questions that made her think differently. You should use bamboo for the interior screens, he said, pointing at her sketch. It's traditional, but sustainable, and it'll cast beautiful shadows. That's actually perfect, he smiled. The real smile, not the public one. I have good ideas sometimes. Sometimes, she agreed. When she left that night, he walked her to the door. Thank you for coming, he said. Thank you for not being weird about everything. I'm trying. She almost kissed him. The instinct was there, muscle memory from months of being together. But she stopped herself. Good night, Jaewon. Good night, Ayanda. She went back to her apartment and realized she was smiling. Okay, listen. If you're invested in whether these two can actually figure their mess out, drop a comment. Tell me if your team forgive him or team make him suffer, because it's about to get way more complicated. The complication arrived the next morning in the form of a phone call from her project manager. We have a problem. Ayanda was brushing her teeth. She spit, rinsed, and answered. What kind of problem? The permits for the gallery addition were flagged. Someone filed a complaint. What? Why? Historical preservation concerns. They're saying the expansion violates heritage site protections. Ayanda's stomach dropped. The site's been cleared? We had approval. We did. But complaints can trigger reviews. This could delay us by months. We don't have months. The timeline's already tight. I know. We're trying to figure out who filed it and why. I'll keep you updated. Ayanda hung up and immediately knew. This wasn't random. Someone was targeting the project, which meant someone was targeting her. She called Jaewon. Did you do something to make someone angry? She asked when he answered. Good morning to you too, and probably. Why? Someone's sabotaging the museum project. She heard him moving, the sound of a door closing. "Tell me everything." She explained about the permits, the complaint, the delay. "This is about us," he said. "Someone knows about us, and they're using the project to get leverage." "Your mother?" "No. She's direct. If she wanted to pressure you, she'd do it to your face." He was quiet for a moment. This is someone else. Someone who benefits from chaos. "That's not ominous at all. Let me make some calls. I'll fix this." "J1, you can't just fix everything." "Watch me." He hung up before she could argue. 3 hours later, Ayanda was at the construction site when a car pulled up. A woman in her 50s stepped out, elegant, cold-eyed. She looked like J1. Same cheekbones, same posture. This had to be his mother. "Ms. Dlamini, I'm Seo Ji Hye. We should talk." It wasn't a request. They sat in the site office, a temporary building that smelled like sawdust and coffee. Seo Ji Hye looked around with barely disguised distaste. "My son has been making reckless decisions lately," she started. "I assume you're aware." "If you mean breaking his engagement, yes. I mean, throwing away a decade of careful planning for a relationship that started 3 months ago." Ayanda kept her expression neutral. "I didn't ask him to do that." "No, but you didn't discourage him either. With respect, Mrs. Seo, your son is an adult. He makes his own choices." "Does he?" Ji-hee leaned forward. "Or is he making choices based on guilt and obligation? Because I understand there are additional complications now." So she knew about the pregnancy. "Let me be clear," Ji-hye continued. "I don't care about your relationship. I care about my family's reputation and my son's future. A scandal right now could damage business relationships worth billions of won." "Then maybe you should have raised him to be honest, instead of teaching him to hide things." Ji-hye's eyes narrowed. "Careful. Or what? You'll sabotage my project more than you already have. I didn't file that complaint." "Then who did?" "Someone who wants to see you fail. Someone who benefits from you leaving Seoul." Ji-hye stood. "I suggest you figure out who, because I may not approve of you, but I don't destroy people's careers. Whoever did this is willing to go further than I would." She left, and Ayanda sat in the empty office feeling like she'd just been threatened and warned at the same time. Her phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. "Leave Seoul, or the next complaint will be about you personally. Your visa, your credentials, things that will follow you back to Johannesburg." Ayanda stared at the message. Then she forwarded it to Jae-won. His response was immediate. "Where are you?" "Construction site. Stay there, I'm coming." He arrived 20 minutes later, out of breath like he'd run. When he saw she was okay, relief crossed his face. "Show me the message." She did. Watched his expression go from worried to furious. "This is Kim Min-seok," he said. "Who?" "Business rival. His family lost the museum contract to us. He's been bitter about it for months." Jae-won was already dialing. "This is illegal. Blackmail, harassment. I'm calling my lawyer." "Wait." Ayanda grabbed his arm. "If you go legal, this becomes public. Then everyone knows about us, about the baby, everything." "So?" "So I'm not ready for that, and neither is your family." "I don't care about my family." "Yes, you do. You spent your whole life caring about them. Don't pretend you can just stop." She took his phone. "Let me handle this my way." "How?" "I'm going to finish the project. On time, perfectly. So well that no complaint or delay matters. And then I'm going to decide what I want." She looked at him. "Without threats or pressure. Just my choice." "That's your plan? Work harder?" "That's always been my plan." He looked at her like she was insane, or possibly brilliant. Maybe both. "You're terrifying," he said. "Thank you." He laughed. Actually laughed. Then sobered. "Let me help. Not by fixing it, just by being here." "How?" "I know people at city planning. I can make sure your permits get reviewed quickly, fairly. No special treatment. Just no unnecessary delays. That's special treatment. It's leveling the playing field. Someone's cheating. I'm making sure you have a fair shot. Ayanda wanted to argue, but she was tired, pregnant, and running out of time. Fine. But nothing shady. I won't win because of your connections. You'll win because you're brilliant. I'm just removing obstacles. Over the next week, things moved fast. The permit review was scheduled, expedited, and approved. The complaint was investigated and dismissed as frivolous. Kim Min Seok apparently got a visit from someone in Jae-won's organization. Nothing threatening. Just a reminder that harassment has consequences. The project was back on track. Ayanda worked 16-hour days, supervised construction, revised plans, and coordinated with contractors. Her team started noticing she wasn't drinking coffee anymore, that she'd disappeared for bathroom breaks constantly, that she was wearing looser clothes. Marcus cornered her one afternoon. "Are you pregnant?" She froze. "What?" "You have that glow. My sister had it. Also, you've been eating crackers constantly, and you nearly cried yesterday when the foundation pour went well." Ayanda sighed. "Yes, I'm pregnant. Please don't tell anyone." "Who's the dad?" "Wait, is it that guy who keeps showing up? The one who funded the gallery?" "It's complicated." "It's always complicated." Marcus grinned. "Congratulations, by the way. You're going to be a terrifying mother. In a good way." She laughed despite herself. That night, Jae-won texted, "Dinner tomorrow? My grandmother wants to see you again." "Why?" She didn't say. "But when she summons, you go." "She's not summoning me." "Ayanda, she's absolutely summoning you." The next evening, Ayanda found herself back at Madame Seo's house. This time, Jae-won came with her. "You didn't mention he'd be here," Ayanda muttered as they walked to the door. "She didn't mention it. I invited myself." "How'd that go?" "She hung up on me, but I came anyway." Madame Seo was waiting in the same room as before. She looked at Jae-won with mild annoyance. "I didn't invite you. I know, I'm crashing. Sit down before I change my mind about tolerating you." They sat. Tea was poured. Madame Seo studied them both. "You're showing," she said to Ayanda. Ayanda glanced down. She was wearing a loose sweater. But yes, there was a small bump now. 14 weeks. "A little," she admitted. "Have you thought about what happens when it becomes obvious?" "I'll deal with it." "How?" "I don't know yet." Madame Seo nodded, approvingly. "Honesty. Good." She turned to Jae-won. "And you? What's your plan?" "To support Ayanda however she needs." "Vague, useless. Try again." Jae-won straightened. "I want to go public. Announce the pregnancy. Announce our relationship. Deal with the fallout." "No," Ayanda said immediately. "Why not?" "Because I'm not a scandal. And our child isn't going to be born into a media circus." "So what do you want?" "Time, privacy, a chance to figure this out without everyone watching." Madame Seo sipped her tea. "Impossible. You're connected to this family now. Privacy isn't an option." "Then I'll leave." "You keep saying that, but you're still here." Ayanda met her eyes. "Because I keep my commitments. 4 months, that was the deal." "And after?" "After, I decide." "What if I told you that you're welcome to stay? Not as his obligation, as family." Ayanda blinked. "What? I'm old. I don't waste time on pretense. You're smart, talented, and stubborn. You're good for him. And more importantly, you don't need us." Madame Seo smiled slightly. "That makes you valuable. People who don't need you are the only ones you can trust." "I don't understand." "I'm offering you protection, a place in this family if you want it. Not because of the baby, because of you." Ayanda looked at Jae-won. He looked just as surprised. "Think about it," Madame Seo said. "But don't take too long. The world won't wait forever." They left in silence. In the car, Jae-won finally spoke. Did my grandmother just adopt you? I think so. That's never happened before. Is it good or bad? Honestly? I have no idea. She's terrifying, but usually right. He glanced at her. How are you feeling? Overwhelmed? Confused? Hungry? I know a place. They ended up at a street food stall, eating tteokbokki and fried dumplings. It was so normal it felt surreal. Can I ask you something? Jae-won said. Okay. When you think about the future, what do you see? Ayanda thought about it. I see my child growing up confident, knowing both sides of their heritage. I see myself still designing buildings, still creating things that matter. She paused. I don't know if I see Seoul or Johannesburg. I don't know if I see you. But I see me. Solid. Certain. That's good. What do you see? Honestly, I see you. The rest is negotiable. Her heart did that stupid flutter thing. That's a lot of pressure, she said. I know, but it's true. They finished eating. He drove her home. At her door, he hesitated. Can I feel it? The bump? Ayanda's breath caught. It was such a small thing. But it felt huge. Okay. He placed his hand on her stomach, gentle, reverent. The bump was small but unmistakable. Hi, he whispered. I'm your dad. I'm trying really hard not to mess this up. Ayanda's eyes stung. Damn hormones. You're doing okay so far, she said quietly. He looked up at her. Yeah? Yeah. The moment stretched. He was close enough to kiss. She could feel his breath. Then her phone rang. They jumped apart. She answered. Ayanda? It's your mom. Hi, Mama. We need to talk about when you're coming home. Your father and I are worried. You've been so vague about everything. Ayanda looked at Jae-won. He was watching her carefully. Can I call you back? Is something wrong? No, I need to tell you something. But not over the phone. Silence. Then, you're pregnant, aren't you? Mothers always know. Yes. And the father? It's complicated. Is he there with you now? Ayanda glanced at Jae-won. He was still standing there, hand in his pockets, looking nervous. Yes. Put him on. Mama, I don't think... Ayanda Elizabeth Dlamini, put him on the phone. Jae-won's eyes went wide. Ayanda handed him the phone. Hello, Mrs. Dlamini, he said. His voice was steady, but she could see his hand shaking slightly. She couldn't hear her mother's side of the conversation, but she watched Jae-won's face cycle through expressions. Nervous, apologetic, determined. Yes, ma'am, I understand. No, ma'am, I take full responsibility. Yes, I will. I promise. He handed the phone back. What did she say? Ayanda asked. She said if I hurt you again, she'll fly to Seoul and handle me personally. Despite everything, Ayanda laughed. She's terrifying, Jae-won added. Now you know where I get it from. He smiled, then sobered. She wants to come visit. Meet me properly. Talk about everything. When? Next month. Ayanda's stomach flipped, her parents meeting Jae-won, meeting his family, everything becoming real and concrete and unavoidable. Okay, she said. Okay, we'll figure it out. Together? She looked at him, really looked, at the man who'd lied to her and broken her heart, and was now standing on her doorstep looking hopeful and scared and sincere. Together, she agreed. He left, and Ayanda went inside and called her mother back. He sounds nice, her mother said. He is, mostly, when he's not being an idiot. All men are idiots sometimes. The question is he a good man? I think so. I'm still figuring it out. Then take your time, but not too much time. That baby's coming whether you're ready or not. They talked for another hour, about pregnancy, about Seoul, about everything. When they hung up, Ayanda felt lighter. Then her phone buzzed. Another unknown number. The text message was a photo. Jae-won and Ayanda at the street food stall, his hand on her stomach. Clearly visible. Clearly intimate. The caption: Seoul's most eligible bachelor knocked up his side piece. Story drops tomorrow. Ayanda's blood went cold. She called Jae-won. We have a problem. Jae-won arrived at her apartment within minutes. He looked at the photo, his jaw tightening. How did they get this? Does it matter? Someone followed us. Someone's been watching. Ayanda paced. They're going to make me look like a homewrecker, like some foreign woman who got pregnant to trap you. That's not what happened. I know that. You know that. But the internet doesn't care about truth. Jae-won was already on his phone. I'm calling my PR team. We'll issue a statement first. Control the narrative. What narrative? There's no good way to spin this. Then we tell the truth. The truth is messy. So we tell a messy truth. He stopped, looked at her directly. Or we don't tell anything. I can kill this story. One phone call to the right people and it disappears. How? Ways you don't want to know about. Ayanda stared at him. This was the other side of Jae-won, the part connected to power and influence and things that happened in shadows. No, she said. No cover-ups. No making things disappear. If we do this, we do it honestly. Are you sure? No, but I'm tired of hiding. He nodded slowly. Okay. Then we go public. Tomorrow. Press conference. We control the message before they do. What do we say? That I ended my engagement. That I'm in a relationship with you. That we're expecting a child. That it's our private business, but we're sharing it to stop speculation. They're going to crucify us. Probably. But we'll survive it. Ayanda sat down heavily. I can't believe this is happening. Jae-won sat next to her. Not touching, just present. We don't have to do this. I meant what I said. I can make this go away. And then what? We hide for 4 more months? I get visibly pregnant and we pretend it's not happening. She shook her head. No. If I'm staying in Seoul, if I'm doing this, I'm not doing it in secret. You're staying. She hadn't realized she'd said it out loud. I don't know. Maybe. I haven't decided. She looked at him. But I'm tired of running. From you, from this, from everything. So we face it. So we face it. He reached for her hand. She let him take it. We're going to need help, he said. PR. Legal. Someone to handle media. This is going to get ugly. Your mother's going to lose her mind. She'll survive, and honestly, she'll respect the direct approach more than sneaking around. What about your grandmother? She'll probably throw a party. Despite everything, Ayanda laughed. They spent the next 3 hours planning. Jae-won's PR team arrived at midnight, 3 sharp-dressed people with tablets and strategies. They drafted statements, anticipated questions, planned timing. We announce at 10 a.m., the head of PR said. Her name was Lee Sun-hee, and she looked like she'd handled scandals before. That gives us time to brief family, prepare for backlash, get legal ready for any defamation. What kind of backlash? Ayanda asked. Honestly? Everything. People will call you opportunistic. They'll accuse you of trapping him. There'll be racist comments, probably threats. We'll monitor and report the worst of it. But you need to be prepared. Ayanda's stomach turned. We'll also get support, Sun-hee added. Young people especially tend to side with authentic love stories over arranged marriages. If we position this right, you're the brave couple choosing happiness over obligation. That feels manipulative, Ayanda said. It's PR. But it's also true, isn't it? Ayanda looked at Jae-won. Is it? Yes, he said without hesitation. Everything with you has been the most real thing in my life. Sun-hee made a note. We're using that quote. By 3 a.m., they had a plan. By 4, Ayanda was exhausted. The team left, promising to return at 8. Jae-won lingered at the door. You should sleep, he said. I can't. Too anxious. Want company? I can stay on the couch, just so you're not alone. She should say no. Should maintain boundaries. But the thought of being alone tonight felt impossible. Okay. He settled on her couch with a blanket. She went to her bedroom but left the door open. J1? Yeah? Thank you for not running. I'm done running. She fell asleep to the sound of him breathing in the next room. Morning came too fast. The PR team returned with coffee and breakfast pastries Ayanda couldn't eat. Her stomach was in knots. Your family knows? She asked J1. Told them an hour ago. My mother's furious but resigned. Grandmother sent a thumbs-up emoji. Your grandmother uses emojis? She's full of surprises. At 9, they left for the press conference. It was being held at a hotel, neutral ground. The room was already filling with reporters. Ayanda wore a simple dress, navy blue, professional. Her bump was barely visible but there. J1 wore a suit, but no tie. Sun-hee said it made him look more approachable. Ready? He asked. No, let's go anyway. They walked in together. Camera flashes exploded. Questions shouted over each other. Sun-hee guided them to a small stage with 2 chairs and a microphone. J1 spoke first. Thank you for coming. I'm here to address recent speculation about my personal life. 3 months ago, I met someone who changed my perspective on everything. Her name is Ayanda Dlamini. She's an architect working on the Hanel Museum project. And I fell in love with her. The room erupted. He waited for quiet. At the time, I was engaged. That engagement was arranged, a business decision made when I was 19. I tried to honor it. But I couldn't, because I realized I deserved to choose my own life, and so did my fiancé. He looked at Ayanda. She nodded. Han Soo-yeon and I ended our engagement 3 weeks ago. It was mutual, respectful, and private until now. I'm sorry it became public this way. She deserves better. What about the pregnancy? Someone shouted. Jaewon didn't flinch. Ayanda is expecting our child. We're both very happy about it. And before anyone asks, no, that's not why I ended the engagement. I ended it because I was in love with someone else. The pregnancy happened after. Technically true. The engagement ended before she told him. Ayanda leaned toward the microphone. I know this looks messy. I know people will judge. But I didn't know about the engagement when we started seeing each other. When I found out, I tried to leave. Jaewon stopped me. Not by trapping me, but by being honest. By making a choice. Are you getting married? Another reporter called. We haven't discussed it, Ayanda said honestly. Right now, we're focused on preparing for our child and finishing my work in Seoul. Will you stay in Korea? I don't know yet. We're taking it one day at a time. The questions kept coming, some respectful, some invasive. Sun-hee stepped in when they got too personal. After 30 minutes, they left, walked out through a side door to avoid the crowd. In the car, Ayanda's hands were shaking. That was horrible, she said. You were amazing. I felt like throwing up the entire time. But you didn't. You were calm and honest and perfect. Her phone started buzzing, messages flooding in. She turned it off. How long until we know if this worked? She asked. Hour, maybe 2. Sun-hee's team is monitoring everything. They went back to Ayanda's apartment. Jaewon made tea. They sat on the couch and waited. Sun-hee called at noon. It's mixed, she said. Lots of negative comments, but also significant support. Several women's groups are praising Ayanda for being honest about unplanned pregnancy. Young people are calling it romantic. Older generation is scandalized, but that was expected. Any threats? Jaewon asked. Some. Nothing credible yet. We're monitoring. What about Soo-yeon? She issued a statement. Very classy. Said she wishes you both well and asks for privacy. Ayanda felt a wave of gratitude for a woman she barely knew. Overall, Sun-hee continued, you survived. Now we let it settle and focus on controlling your narrative going forward. They hung up. We did it, Jaewon said. We survived one day. There are many more coming. Then we survived those too. Ayanda's phone rang. Her mother. I saw the news, her mother said. You should have told us you were doing this. It happened fast. Are you okay? I think so. Ask me again tomorrow. Your father and I are coming. This weekend. We already booked flights. Ayanda's heart jumped. Mama, you don't have to. Yes, we do. You're pregnant and in the middle of a scandal in a foreign country. We're coming. There was no arguing with that tone. Okay. I'll send you details. And we're meeting this boy properly. If he's going to be in our grandchild's life, we need to know him. He's 31, Mama, not a boy. He's a boy until I decide he's a man. Jae-won, who could apparently hear through the phone, looked terrified. They spent the next 3 days in a strange limbo. The story circulated online. Comments ranged from supportive to vicious. Ayanda stopped reading them. Her project team was supportive, thank goodness. Marcus gave her a high five. The museum director assured her the scandal wouldn't affect her work. Jae-won's mother requested a meeting. Ayanda agreed. They met at a restaurant, private room, just the three of them. Seo Ji-hee was cold, but not hostile. I won't pretend to be happy about this situation, she said. But my son made his choice. And my mother approves of you, which counts for something. I'm not trying to take over your family, Ayanda said. Good, because you couldn't. Ji-hye sipped her wine. But you are part of it now, whether either of us likes it. So we should establish boundaries. What kind of boundaries? I won't interfere with your relationship. You don't interfere with family business. You raise my grandchild to understand both cultures, and you don't embarrass us publicly. I think that ship sailed. Ji-hye almost smiled. Fair point. But going forward, we present a united front. Family matters stay private. Agreed. And if you hurt my son, you answer to me. If he hurts me again, he answers to my mother. She's arriving this weekend. This time, Ji-hye did smile. I look forward to meeting her. It wasn't warmth, but it was respect. Ayanda would take it. The weekend arrived too fast. Ayanda met her parents at the airport, Jae-won beside her. Her mother took one look at her and pulled her into a hug. You look tired. I am tired, Mama. Her father studied Jae-won. You're taller in person. Yes, sir. And you got my daughter pregnant. Yes, sir. Anything else I should know? I love her, sir. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life proving I deserve her. Her father looked at her mother. Some silent communication passed between them. We'll see, her father said. Okay, real talk. If you're wondering whether Ayanda's dad is going to grill Jae-won like a protective father should, you're right to wonder. Comment below what you think he should ask. And maybe drop your own dad's most intimidating question, because I know you have one. They had dinner that night at Jae-won's apartment. He cooked, which impressed her mother. A man who cooks is a man who can take care of himself, she observed. My father taught me, Jae-won said, before he died. I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you. It was 12 years ago, but I still miss him. Ayanda's father asked the hard questions, about the engagement, about the family business, about plans for the future. Jae-won answered honestly, didn't hide the mistakes, didn't make excuses. I hurt your daughter, I know that. I was a coward when I should have been brave. He looked at Ayanda. I'm trying to be better. Trying isn't enough, her father said. You have to do better. I know, sir. And this family business of yours, is it legal? Mostly. Her father's eyebrows rose. We own construction companies, hotels, real estate, Jae-won clarified. Everything legitimate. But we're also connected to old networks, traditional power structures. It's complicated. Will my grandchild be safe in this complicated world? Yes. I'll make sure of it. How? Because I know what it's like to grow up with pressure and expectations, and no choice. I won't do that to our child. They'll be protected, but free. Ayanda's mother reached over and squeezed her hand. After dinner, Ayanda's parents went to their hotel. She stayed to help Jaiwan clean up. "That went better than expected," he said. "My father likes you. He threatened me 3 separate times." "Yes, that means he likes you." Jaiwan laughed, then sobered. "They're good people. You're lucky." "I know. Our child is going to have an amazing family, both sides." Ayanda looked at him. Really looked. At the man who'd lied and grown and was trying so hard. "Jaiwan." "Yeah?" "I forgive you." He froze. "What?" "I forgive you. For the lying, for the hiding, for all of it. You messed up. But you're fixing it. And I'm tired of being angry." His eyes got shiny. "You mean it?" "I mean it." He crossed to her, slowly, giving her time to pull back. When she didn't, he wrapped his arms around her. "Thank you," he whispered into her hair. She let herself lean into him, let herself feel safe for the first time in weeks. "This doesn't mean everything's perfect," she said against his chest. "I know. We still have a lot to figure out. I know. And if you ever lie to me again, I will destroy you." "I believe you." She pulled back to look at him. "But I want to try, really try, not just for the baby, for us." "Yeah? Yeah." He kissed her, soft and careful and full of relief. She kissed him back and felt something settle in her chest. Not certainty, exactly, but hope. The next 2 months were chaos. Ayanda's parents stayed for 2 weeks, met Jaewon's family, explored Seoul. The meeting between her mother and Madame Seo was legendary. 2 strong women sizing each other up over tea, then apparently deciding they liked each other. "Your grandmother is terrifying," Ayanda's mother told her later. "I respect that." The museum project progressed. Ayanda worked through her pregnancy, her team accommodating when she needed breaks. The gallery space was taking shape, beautiful, and exactly what she'd envisioned. At 20 weeks, they had another ultrasound. Jaewon came this time. "Do you want to know the gender?" Dr. Yoon asked. They looked at each other. "Yes," they said together. "It's a girl." Jaewon's face did something complicated. Joy and terror and wonder all at once. "A daughter," he said quietly. Ayanda was crying, happy tears this time. They left the hospital holding hands. "I don't know how to raise a daughter," Jaewon said. "Good thing you have months to figure it out." "What if I mess it up?" "You will, so will I, but we'll fix it together." He stopped walking, turned to face her. "Move in with me." "What?" "Not because you have to. Not because of the baby. Because I want to wake up with you every morning. I want to figure out this parenting thing together. I want to build a life with you. Jaewon, I'm not proposing. Not yet. I know you need time. But live with me. Let's be a family." Ayanda thought about her apartment, her space, her independence. Then she thought about him making her breakfast, about falling asleep next to him, about their daughter growing up seeing parents who chose each other. "Okay. Okay? Yes. I'll move in with you." He picked her up and spun her. She laughed and swatted him. "Careful. I'm carrying precious cargo. Both of you are precious." She moved in the next week. It was surprisingly easy, merging their lives. Her sketches on his walls, her books on his shelves, their routines blending. The museum project finished on schedule. The opening was scheduled for late spring, just before her due date. At 30 weeks pregnant, Ayanda stood in the completed gallery space and cried. It was perfect. Bamboo screens casting shadows, natural light flooding in. Space for art from 2 continents to speak to each other. "You did it," Jaewon said, standing beside her. "We did it." The dedication plaque was installed the next day, designed by Ayanda Dlamini, funded by CO Holdings in partnership with the National Museum Foundation. Her name, permanent, on something that would outlast her. The opening gala was beautiful. Ayanda wore a dress that accommodated her belly, feeling enormous and proud. Her parents flew back for it. Jaewon's family attended. Even Soo-yeon came, gracious and kind, congratulating Ayanda on her work. "You built something amazing," Soo-yeon said. "Thank you, and thank you for your statement. It helped. We're all just trying to be happy. Different paths, same goal." They hugged, and Ayanda felt a chapter close. That night, back at the apartment, Jaewon found her on the balcony. Tired? Exhausted. Happy. Terrified. About the baby? About everything. She's coming in 6 weeks. We're going to be parents. We're going to be terrible at it. Absolutely. But we'll figure it out. Ayanda leaned against him. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if I'd made that flight? If I'd actually left? Every day. What do you think? I think I would have followed you to Johannesburg. Probably would have shown up at your door like an idiot, begging for another chance. Would I have let you in? I hope so." She turned to face him. "I'm glad I stayed. Me too. I love you, Jaewon, even when you're infuriating. I love you too, even when you're stubborn. I'm not stubborn. You literally worked through contractions with our first daughter because you wanted to finish a drawing. That hasn't happened yet. It will. I know you." She laughed because he was probably right. 6 weeks later, their daughter arrived. 8 pounds, healthy lungs, her father's eyes. They named her Naledi Seo. Star in Setswana, her mother's language. Seo from her father. Ayanda's mother cried when she heard the name. Jaewon's grandmother approved, which was basically a blessing. The first night home from the hospital, they sat on the couch, Naledi sleeping between them. "We made a person," Jaewon whispered. "Terrifying, right?" "Absolutely." Naledi made a small noise. They both froze. She settled back to sleep. "What now?" Ayanda asked. "Now we figure it out, day by day. I got offered a job in Johannesburg. The firm wants me back." Jaewon looked at her. "What did you say?" "That I'd think about it. I wanted to talk to you first." "What do you want to do?" "I don't know. I love Seoul. I love the work I'm doing here. But I miss home too. So we split time. 6 months here, 6 months there. I can work remotely for some of it. We make it work." "You'd do that?" "I'd do anything to keep us together." Ayanda kissed him, soft and grateful. "Let's try Seoul for now. See how it feels raising her here. We can always change our minds." "Okay." Naledi woke up crying. They spent the next hour feeding her, changing her, walking her around the apartment. Parenting was exhausting and beautiful, and nothing like Ayanda expected. But they were doing it together. 3 months later, Jaewon proposed. Nothing fancy. Just them in the apartment, Naledi asleep in her bassinet. "I know we said we'd take it slow," he started. "But I don't want slow anymore. I want forever. Will you marry me?" The ring was simple, a single stone, elegant, not showy. "Yes," Ayanda said, "but I'm keeping my name professionally. I wouldn't expect anything else." They got married 6 months later. Small ceremony, just family. Ayanda wore cream, Naledi in a tiny matching dress. Jaewon cried through his vows. "You taught me that I could choose my own life," he said. "You taught me what love actually feels like, and you gave me the greatest gift I've ever received." He looked at Naledi, sleeping in Ayanda's mother's arms. 2 greatest gifts. Ayanda's vows were simpler. "You drove me crazy. You still do. But you're my favorite person to be crazy with. Let's build something beautiful." They honeymooned in South Africa, showed Naledi the country her mother came from, visited Ayanda's childhood home, let their daughter meet the aunts and uncles and cousins who would love her. Then they went back to Seoul, back to work and family dinners, and the beautiful chaos of building a life. On Naledi's first birthday, they threw a party. Both families, both cultures, both languages mixing in their apartment. Ayanda stood on the balcony for a moment, watching through the window. Jai-wan holding their daughter, her father talking to Madame Seo, her mother laughing with Ji-hai. This was her life now. Complicated, cross-continental, full of people who loved loudly. Jae-won came outside, Naledi on his hip. "You okay?" "Perfect." "Liar. You're thinking too hard. I'm thinking about how different everything is from a year ago." "Good different. The best different." Naledi reached for her, saying "Mama" in her sweet baby voice. Ayanda took her, breathed in that baby smell, felt her heart expand. "I'm glad I stayed," she said. "I'm glad you gave me another chance. Don't waste it." "Never." They went back inside, back to the party, back to their loud, complicated, beautiful family. And if you stuck with this story all the way to the end, thank you. Life is messy. Love is complicated. But sometimes, when you're brave enough to choose it, it's worth every hard moment. If this story made you feel something, hit that subscribe button. Because there are more stories like this coming. Stories about people who mess up and grow and choose love even when it's terrifying. And honestly, isn't that what we all need to hear? That it's okay to be imperfect, as long as we keep trying. Ayanda and Jae-won didn't get a perfect ending, but they got a real one, and sometimes that's even better.